Hey everybody, this is Worre and welcome to NetworkMarketingPro.com. There's no question that our world is changing. Technology is bringing people closer together. We're able to communicate more effectively all around the world. And if you've been watching and part of Network Marketing Pro for some time, you know that I've been exploring this idea of how to use technology and integrate it with what we do every day in our warm market approaches to growing an organization. One of the people who's pioneered that approach is a young man by the name of Jonathan Budd. He's 28 years old. He's been very successful, built huge organizations, and has kind of cracked the code as to how to utilize technology today in order to be able to blend that into network marketing. So I asked him, I'm in the Ukraine at the moment, I asked him if he would get on Skype and we would do a Skype video interview just to have a conversation. No planning, no preparation, and we did that. So this is the first of 5 parts of this interview. I just want you to listen into our conversation, listen in to see what we're talking about. A couple things I do need to let you know. Because we're dealing with internet all over the world, different speeds, there was a little bit of audio challenge with the interview. Particularly when I'm speaking. My voice is much lower than his voice. Hope you can kind of adapt when I'm talking. And also occasionally there's an echo that shows up when I'm speaking. The good news is when he's speaking it doesn't happen. So you can pay attention to that. He has trained hundreds of thousands of people all over the world how to utilize the technology resources we have available and implement them into network marketing. So enjoy. This is the first part 1 of 5. Enjoy. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Eric, thank you so much for having me here, my friend. It's a total pleasure.
I'm glad you're here. And we're going to talk about some interesting things, these ideas of how you can get more people to talk to, how you can have more influence with people. We're going to talk about some pretty cool things. But why don't you back up, Jonathan, and just for the people who don't know you, we've got a large audience, as you know, here at Network Marketing Pro, but I think a lot of that audience doesn't know Jonathan Budd really. So what's your story? How did you, you're a young guy, how did you get introduced to network marketing in the first place?
It was my uncle, my friend. It was that total status quo uncle in the business, my friend, and it was amazing. He called me up, and I was 21 years old, and I was a senior in college, and nothing made sense to me about a lot of the other avenues that were really being presented. You know what I mean? Like, I just kind of always had that entrepreneurial bug, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. Completely clueless, you know. And here it was, 6 months away from graduating, and he calls me up. And all I remember hearing was, we've got this scanner. It was my first opportunity was Pharmanex. We've got this biophotonic scanner. It's going to change the world. All this stuff. $30,000 a month, right? And I remember this $30,000 a month figure sticking in my head. I don't even think I'd ever even hypothesized you could make that much money in a month. You know what I mean? And he's like, all you got to do is this simple, and everybody's doing it. Here's doing it. And I was sold. Instantly, I did not require much network marketing. I think you could say it was in my blood. I did not really require a lot of hard selling there, and I was in instantly. Went and recruited all my hippie friends, and
I was gonna say, how did it start? Tell me how you got started.
Well, let's just say that organization didn't grow very much. So yeah, I got started. I think the next day I had 7 friends on a conference call, which everybody was very impressed by. One of them bought. I had my first 4 in my first 30 days. I think I had, they were scrounging quarters out of their couches, and we're all college kids, so.
Stuff like that.
Exactly. And that's kind of when everything stopped for a while.
So you basically got, that a week's worth of flurry of activity?
Well, I exhausted my every contact I knew in a matter of 14 days. I I burned through fast. I was so excited. I was so pumped up that every person I could possibly talk to, I went and talked to, and I went and talked to them fast. Problem is at the time I had dreadlocks still. I'm not going to lie.
Do you have any pictures of this?
I have not many pictures. I was not really in a picture.
Man, we need pictures of the dreadlocks.
I have one. There's one secret picture that can be found if you like. But needless to say, I didn't really have a lot of influence with very influential people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, the college kid who barely even goes to class, I could get him on a conference call. But most of the people who are pretty well positioned for network marketing, they're go-getters, they've got some influence, they're hungry. Not so much, 20-year-olds in college, my network at the time, right? So needless to say, I ran out of prospects pretty darn quickly, and that's when I just went through the smorgasbord of every possible way that you could think of, that I could think of, to really recruit and build my organization.
What did you do? What were some of the ideas that you tried?
Everything. I mean, everything I could possibly think of. So the first thing I started doing was...
The option in your mind wasn't quit.
No.
The option was, you were in. The option wasn't quit. The option was, you got to find some more prospects.
It was find a way. You know what I mean? And it was like... all I can remember is this insatiable desire to succeed. I couldn't think of anything else but how I was going to do this, And that's when, first thing I did, I think I started getting everyone's top 20 contacts. So I actually got a few people to literally write out their entire top, their recommended top 20 who wouldn't join me.
Yeah.
I called them all, set up meetings with all of them. While I was doing that, nothing panned out there, but while I was doing that, I was cold calling doctors, dentists. We were fax blasting doctors, dentists, chiropractors.
Remember the fax blast?
I caught the tail end of the fax blast.
Tail end of the fax blast. How old are you now?
28.
28. Yeah, the tail end for sure of the fax blast. But I remember the day when you'd have them all stacked up. You had all this, what we thought was the coolest technology ever. Where we could fax blast people instead of email them.
Yeah, I think they were a little desensitized by the tail end of the fax blast. So, we were faxing them, we were mailing them. I started walking in. I was doing door to door. I would hit businesses on the street. That was pretty uncomfortable. Then I started buying booths in malls, expositions. Anywhere I could buy a booth. Problem was I didn't really have a lot of money, so the first time I spent $1,500. And this is a funny story, because in network marketing, my experience was I was so wet behind the ears, just so green, right, that I had everything mapped out for exactly how much product I was going to sell, how many auto ships I was going to get people on, how many of those would turn into distributors, from this booth I had in the mall, right? I could scan one person every 10 minutes because I had my biophotonic scanner. So I had envisioned, lines of people waiting to get scanned, and what our close rate's going to be, and how many auto ships we're going to create.
All we need is 1% of 1%. That's all you need. If they walk through, all we got to do is get 1 out of 100. Well, we got to do that for sure. Even if we get 1 out of 1,000, we're going to pay for ourselves,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like it makes sense, but the problem was that the only person that stopped was this one 85-year-old lady, and I think she was just literally out of curiosity for the characters that were just behind this thing. I think she just stopped to look at us. So it quickly turned into this realization that I just lost $1,500, and I kind of sunk into this depression for a while. Oh man, that was actually the closest I ever came to quitting. Right?
Yeah.
It was the closest, and I got home, and I remember I literally sank into my chair, and I was truly depressed about it, and I was like, why am I doing this? This is the most miserable thing I think I've ever done. I've never failed harder at anything in my entire life. Why am I doing this?
Right.
And this little voice, just keep going, just keep going. And that was actually the breaking point when I had exhausted pretty much everything that I could think of. And that's when I stumbled onto the internet and I saw a website. It was by some other distributor in Pharmanex, and it had a little counter. I was researching Pharmanex or something, and it had one of those hit counters, from like 2003.
Yeah, I remember when they did that. How many people have come to the site?
Exactly. And it said 305,000. And this light bulb went off in my head. I was like, 305,000 people saw this website? And I was just like, if I had 1% of those people, I was like, oh my God, 1% of 305,000. And then that was when my higher curiosity and intrigue was sparked around the internet, and
but before we go farther into that, and I do want to talk about that. I'm fascinated with your success in that arena. When I got started with NSA. It was water filters and air filters, and I was 22 when I started. I had 18 jobs before I was 22. I didn't go to college like you did. You would have been a high-level prospect for me.
That tells me a lot.
Yeah. But what they did to generate leads after we'd gone through, like you, it didn't take me long to go through my list, is we ran ads in the local newspaper. Millionaire maker, 10,000 a month, all these jobs, quote unquote jobs, and we had little offices in the Minneapolis area, and we would take calls all week and say, what are you looking for? And we'd set up interviews. People would come in for an interview, and we'd do the presentation, and we had somebody to talk to. Really hard and expensive. Because, when it was really rolling, and NSA was something of a phenomenon back then, there'd be 30 or 40 ads for NSA that none of them said NSA in it. 30 or 40 in the local newspaper every single week in every category you could imagine. Tired of nursing? It would be in the nursing thing or wherever it would be. So that was how I kind of, developed some chops, or at least had some people to talk to. You know what I mean? While I started developing my skills, I didn't have the internet to go to. You were kind of at a relatively, not super early stage, but early stage for network marketing for the internet.
Yeah, I would definitely say network marketing actually found the internet extremely late. Extremely. It really didn't start gaining massive traction until 2008, 2009.
Yeah, people said it just doesn't mix. It just doesn't mix. Don't even do it.
Yeah. But if you look at the internet respectively, most other advertisers, internet marketing, really around 2002, 2003, my God, if we had discovered it back then, I can't even tell you the amount of...
Yeah, well, and you know what's crazy is they hit it late, and then they hit it poorly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When they finally came in, everybody was spamming the world. Nobody was really building an audience. Nobody was really building influence. Nobody was bringing value. They were just, sign up with me. You can make, doing basically, what they were doing? What I used to do in the classified ads.
Yeah.
In the newspaper, they were doing on the internet.
That's pretty much it, my friend, and that's
interesting.
It's what we're now changing. So
right.
Well, I hope you enjoyed part 1. Tomorrow we bring you part 2, where Jonathan talks about his first breakthrough, going from desperation to his first success using technology in network marketing. Tune in tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, my wish for you is that you decide to become a network marketing professional. You decide to go pro, because it is a stone cold fact that we have a better way. Now let's go tell the world. See you tomorrow, and take care. Bye-bye.